Psalm 104, 1 through 35. Devotional focus verse. Bless the Lord, O my soul. O Lord my God, thou art very great. Thou art clothed with honor and majesty, who coverest thyself with light as with a garment, who stretchest out the heavens like a curtain. Psalm 104, 1 and 2. Look at the sky, kids, Dad exclaimed, drawing our attention to the heavenly scene. Leaving our car and heading toward the house after returning from church, we paused in the yard for as long as our little fingers and toes could stand the cold and gazed at the brilliant light show in the heavens. It was a cold, clear autumn night, and the sky to the north was vibrantly alive with swirls of color, a shining curtain of light that was never the same for more than a few moments. This single detail of God's creation, the aurora borealis, or northern lights, is caused by a complicated set of interactions between the solar wind and Earth's magnetic field. The colors of the aurora range from white and yellow-green to purple-red hues. Its lights often shift and shimmer with a freedom similar to sunlight on a rippling lake as the auroras arrive and depart in random fashion. Sometimes the movement is stately and sometimes whimsical, but every time it is impressive. On one occasion, I saw a steady display of magenta light in a single spot in the sky. My friends and I thought surely the Lord would return at any second through that beautiful splash of vibrant color. The aurora borealis is still one of my favorite sights. I like to imagine God moving among its beautiful lights. Today's focus verses relate that God covers himself with light as with a garment and is clothed with honor and majesty. When we read that he stretched out the heavens like a curtain, it is not hard to picture him moving between the shifting folds of glorious light and color in the aurora borealis. God is able to stand where nothing exists, on ethereal, insubstantial clouds, vapor, and wind. He laid the foundations of the earth in space where there was nothing. He created this world with all its varied beauties in that void. God's voice can control water and make it stand up or stay in its borders. He appointed the moon for seasons and created darkness when nocturnal creatures creep out. The earth's foliage grows as he sends rain and sunshine. The fowls of the air survive in the resulting treetops. The large beasts of the sea are fed by the bounty of the seas. Along with all of nature, we benefit from what God supplies. And of all God's creatures, we are the only ones who can fully appreciate and give God praise and thanksgiving for his magnificent world. Our debt of gratitude is great, so when we view the wonders around us, let us pause and give praise to our Creator. Background information. Psalm 104. Psalm 104 is the natural progression of the preceding psalm. While no title is given, it continues in the same style as Psalm 103, beginning and ending with, Bless the Lord, O my soul. It follows the same theme, blessing the Lord for his interaction with his creation, although Psalm 103 focused on God's interaction with man, while Psalm 104 focuses on God's interaction with nature. The last verse of Psalm 103 provides the transition to this psalm in its closing statement, Bless the Lord, all his works in all places of his dominion. Psalm 104 is a poetic account of creation that loosely follows the same outline as Genesis 1. However, instead of focusing on how God created, it focuses on the relationship of God to his creation, his works. For example, while Genesis 1:3 states, And God said, Let there be light, and there was light, Psalm 104:2 says, Who coverest thyself with light as with a garment. The character of God is shown through this perspective of creation. 3 attributes which are unique to God stand out in this psalm. God is omnipotent, all-powerful, omniscient, all-knowing, and omnipresent, present everywhere. The omnipotence of God is brought out in verses 1 through 9. This section of the psalm begins with, "Thou art very great," and emphasizes God's greatness as revealed through the first 3 days of creation. In these verses, each of God's created works is shown to be subject to Him. The next section of the psalm, verses 10 through 20, continues a focus on the 3rd day of creation and into the 4th. It conveys the omniscience of God through the design that is seen in the natural world. Water serves as an example of how nature works in harmony. Water nourishes the earth, which brings forth grass, which feeds the cattle and provides crops for man. This example also shows that God has provided for every need of man water, shelter, and food. The latter verses of this section show that trees provide habitation for birds, the hills serve as a refuge for goats, and the moon is appointed for seasons. Verses 21 through 35 highlight the omnipresence of God through all creatures' dependence upon Him. Living creatures rely on God for their daily needs. These wait all upon Thee, that Thou mayest give them their meat in due season, see verse 27, and are dependent upon God for sustained life, for when He taketh away their breath, they die, see verse 29. In light of all that the psalmist had observed in nature, he realized his need to give praise to God as long as he lived. His oft-repeated injunction to bless the Lord, O my soul, changes to a new phrase of thanksgiving, praise ye the Lord. The original Hebrew for this phrase is hallelujah. This is the first time the word hallelujah occurs in the book of Psalms. Conclusion. God designed the various elements of creation to work together beautifully, and we are amazed, captivated, and delighted with His handiwork.
Psalm 104. Bless the Lord, O my soul. O Lord my God, Thou art very great, Thou art clothed with honor and majesty. Who coverest Thyself with light as with a garment, who stretchest out the heavens like a curtain. Who layeth the beams of His chambers in the waters, who maketh the clouds His chariot, who walketh upon the wings of the wind. Who maketh His angels spirits, His ministers a flaming fire. Who laid the foundations of the earth, that it should not be removed forever. Thou coveredst it with the deep as with a garment, the waters stood above the mountains. At Thy rebuke they fled, at the voice of Thy thunder they hasted away. They go up by the mountains, they go down by the valleys unto the place which Thou hast founded for them. Thou hast set a bound that they may not pass over, that they turn not again to cover the earth. He sendeth the springs into the valleys, which run among the hills. They give drink to every beast of the field, the wild asses quench their thirst. By them shall the fowls of the heaven have their habitation, which sing among the branches. He watereth the hills from His chambers, the earth is satisfied with the fruit of Thy works. He causeth the grass to grow for the cattle, and herb for the service of man, that he may bring forth food out of the earth. And wine that maketh glad the heart of man, and oil to make his face to shine, and bread which strengtheneth man's heart. The trees of the Lord are full of sap, the cedars of Lebanon, which He hath planted. Where the birds make their nests, as for the stork, the fir trees are her house. The high hills are a refuge for the wild goats, and the rocks for the canies. He appointed the moon for seasons, the sun knoweth his going down. Thou makest darkness, and it is night, wherein all the beasts of the forest do creep forth. The young lions roar after their prey, and seek their meat from God. The sun ariseth, they gather themselves together, and lay them down in their dens. Man goeth forth unto his work and to his labor until the evening. O Lord, how manifold are Thy works! In wisdom hast Thou made them all, the earth is full of Thy riches. So is this great and wide sea, wherein are things creeping innumerable, both small and great beasts. There go the ships, there is that Leviathan, whom Thou hast made to play therein. These wait all upon Thee, that Thou mayest give them their meat in due season. That Thou givest them they gather, Thou openest Thine hand, they are filled with good. Thou hiddest Thy face, they are troubled, Thou takest away their breath, they die, and return to their dust. Thou sendest forth thy Spirit, they are created, and thou renewest the face of the earth. The glory of the Lord shall endure forever, the Lord shall rejoice in his works. He looketh on the earth, and it trembleth, he toucheth the hills, and they smoke. I will sing unto the Lord as long as I live, I will sing praise to my God while I have my being. My meditation of him shall be sweet, I will be glad in the Lord. Let the sinners be consumed out of the earth, and let the wicked be no more. Bless thou the Lord, O my soul. Praise ye the Lord.